we're going to be making a Tellarite from Star Trek the original series. Today I'm going to show you how we're going to make the costume, or how I'm going to make my costume for the Mego-sized Tellarite. Now, of course, obviously you will need an 8-inch Mego body. I've got a old Geordie that I'm going to be popping the head off of. That I didn't use that particular one. I used the costume for my data that you'll see over my shoulder there, because I had to make my own custom data. And obviously, you will need to get a Tellarite head, and which that'll be the big thing that we'll be painting up in the video when we work on it. But what we are going to do today is the costume. So let me show you what we are going to need, and then we will get started on that. So obviously, first of all, you're going to need a costume. This is the white bodysuit off of the Planet of the Apes. The under the Planet of the Apes priest character. I can't remember his name right this minute. I was using the robe for something else, and this was the underneath that. But you can get a white or a light gray bodysuit. Honestly, what they wore on the show was a little more of a light gray. And that's what we're going to use as the base. Now this is from a Monster box, Monster sodas. You can use any piece of thin cardboard. Lay any standard figure you've got on it. Use a marker to outline it. It's good to leave a little piece for the neck, the hands, and the feet, so that you have working space. And we're going to put this onto here to work on it. Then the other thing is, this is craft foam. It's just real thin. You can pick this up at pretty much any craft store, Hobby Lobby, Walmart. I think sells it in packages real cheap. Like you can get like 20 pieces of craft foam for about $5, kind of thing. So real super cheap. You should be able to get some. And we're going to be cutting this to make the little sort of square pocket shapes that are all over the costume. But obviously on the show, what they had was sort of a metallic-y looking blue. These are green. I don't have any blue. So we're going to paint them. I need to grab my black paint, because we're going to paint it black first. And then we're going to paint this color shift. It is, what is the name of the paint? Blue Flash is what that's called. This is a folk art color shift paint. I love this stuff, because you see it's got this metallic-y sort of shifts between a green and a blue with a little bit of purple. Real pretty color. And then when we get done, we're going to cover everything with this stuff. It's called Dragonfly Glaze. And this one in particular is Blue Green Gold Shift. We're going to be painting the whole thing. It won't make the suit hard. It'll just apply to it and hold, and should look good. And we're going to need some glue. I recommend something stronger than Elmer's glue. You want to be careful if you're using certain types of super glue, because it can eat away at the foam or the cloth. So I'm going to be using Mod Podge, because when that sets up, it'll hold good and strong and for a long time. And if you need to, you can get away with getting this stuff. It's plastic glue. And it comes with a tiny little nib tip on it for you, where you can just apply single little drops. And you can put that at like the corners of each piece and work from there. But you want to use something a little more gentle, so that it doesn't destroy the Mod Podge. And the roll of tape is just to hold the foam down because I've got my fan going in here. So let me take and grab my black paint, which I believe is behind me somewhere, and get the picture of the Tellarite's costume pulled up. I've also got one of the official figures. Oh, and I almost forgot. You will need to get a pair of white boots, white shoes. I've got some on order from Classic TV Toys. I'll make sure and show you those at the end of the video. All right. So let's get started. Sorry, I wasn't thinking about the fact that it helps if you sort of taper the legs, and a lot of times the cardboard that you're going to use is going to be a one-time use only thing. If you manage to use it a couple of times, that works out too. But don't be too terribly disappointed. Now, the reason you don't want to do this on the figure is that it can actually, the glue can go through the fabric and stick to the figure, and that can gum up the joints and make it difficult to work with. So, oh, forgot to say, you do need scissors as well. I thought that should have kind of implied, but let us start. We're going to take piece of craft foam, and first we're just gonna cover the whole thing in basic black craft paint. This is just to make a dark, even surface for the metallic paint that we're going to put down in a few minutes. This does not have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to cover every inch. Okay. Giving my brush a clean. We're gonna slide that there for just a minute. Get some of that paint I spread off of there. And let that start to dry. while I get the Mod Podge there. I have everything here, I just didn't have it here. Okay. Now, oh, and the other thing is we are going to make the belt out of this as well. He has just a, he's going to be wearing just a plain black belt. So we're going to need pockets, these little blue pockets. So the waist is going to be right about here. So there's 4 on the chest. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's 2 on each leg, both one below and one above the knee. Oh, sorry, you can't see where I put the X's on there. There is on the sleeve, there's one about here and one about here. And it's the same thing about there and right about here. Okay. And the back, it's going to be a little more complicated because we want to keep the Velcro, because it's a large rectangle here and here, and then there's a piece across the butt, which that one we can keep, and then there's a piece here, and sorry, had a technical problem and had to restart the camera. So there's one at the upper leg, one lower leg, one here, one here. But, so like I said, on the back here, we want to keep the Velcro. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 long pieces. We're going to do one here and one here. Going to modify it slightly from the show version, so it'll be more like shoulders. And then the 2 pieces on each arm are already marked, so we are good with that. And I'm going to hope that we've got enough foam here. I wonder, let's cut this strip. I am kind of eyeballing this. This is going to be the belt. Just for your sake, let me grab my ruler. The thickness on this is, yeah, it's actually just slightly less than well, it's about 1/3 of an inch, yeah. And just under 1 centimeter, which is about what I was going for. I'm happy with that. We're going to take, oh, and the length that I'd made at the moment, it's 16 centimeters, which is a little over 6 inches. The waist on this is not 6 inches. What we'll do is we'll glue it in place and then cut the excess off. But before we get there, let's just take and make sure that it's thoroughly painted. You can do the black with Sharpie if you wanted to. That would work fine. I wouldn't hold that against anybody. In fact, I'm not even going to bother with the end. Being that this is going to be the belt, I want to make sure it gets plenty of paint on the top and bottom, because I don't want that to get seen. Alright, and we'll set that off to the side. And clean my brush. Because now we're going to paint all of this with the metallic blue. And I know that the black is kind of spotty at the moment. I don't really care. It's going to get covered up by this really nicely. See, now watch. Check out the color. I like the fact that on the screen it's getting a lot of the, on the camera it's getting a lot of the purple and the blue. Because it's a really cool paint. If you're any kind of artist, you should get this stuff and experiment with it, because it looks really cool. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Don't run off on me. Okay. Now then. If you've got, like I said, if you can find some blue foam, craft foam to use, go for it. I don't have that, and so I'm just going with what I've got. Now, the area that we're dealing with on the chest is basically about an inch and a half by an inch and a half, little less or so square. So what I want to do is I want to make probably 4 squares that are each about an inch and a half, or I mean, sorry, a half inch in size. So I'm going to start down here. Ooh, crap. Just messed up that piece. I should probably wait for the paint to dry a little more. I'm trying to rush this a little bit. So I tell you what, let me fix this spot that I just caused. And let me pause the video. And we'll pick back up once this has dried. Okay, so I've let this dry, and now it's I've cut some of the pieces. I haven't glued anything down yet, but just to give you some idea, everything is just about 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter for the chest squares. It's 1 centimeter by about 3 centimeters for the upper leg, and about 1 by 1 for the lower leg. The pieces for the arms are each about 1 centimeter by 2 centimeters for both the upper and lower leg. So let us get some Mod Podge. Okay. We will start right here. You want to make sure and spread that to every corner. Of the piece. So that you get good coverage, good hold from each square. make sure I'm... And the reason I'm putting some on the fabric is that just helps to create some sort of suction of the, or absorption, there's the word I'm looking for, of the glue into the fabric. But this stuff, it really will hold pretty well. Now, the shoulder pieces, the arm and shoulder pieces, we're only going to glue half of it on this side, meaning we're going to glue it like this. And then when we get to, after you've let this side dry for a while, we'll fold it and get it attached to the other side. So I'm only going to put glue like that. And do that. And we'll do the same here. Okay. All right. Now then, I'm going to use the paint bottles I've got here to apply weight to all of those. And leave it for about 30 minutes so that the glue can fasten to the other side real good, and so that it won't curl. Because it'll do that thing where it'll be flat and then it'll start to curl up, and I don't want that. So we're going to let that glue hold fast for about 30 minutes, and then it should be ready for us to start working on the other side. Okay, so apparently the fabric that this is made of, the Mod Podge, barely held on at all. Everything popped off. So I got that glue I was showing you, the plastic glue. That stuff will hold to anything. That's what's sitting here. This is an open bottle. And reapplied all of those. So that side is set to go. So we're going to flip this over. We're going to start working on the other side. Where did I put my scissors? There they are. So like I said, we're going to do 2 long pieces here, a triangle piece here, and then 2 pieces here. So for the legs, we're going to go a little thinner this time. This is probably about 3/4 of a centimeter. Well, no, it's still a centimeter. And I'm going to cut that in half for each leg. Or no, we're going to do Same as the front. Well, I'm trying to decide. Because the back's going to need to be a little smaller. Let's cut this in half. We'll do the half piece here. We're going to do the half piece here. Or should I cut that in half? While I'm making the decision, we'll do that and that. And should I do halves? I feel like I should do a 3/4 length, which is going to mean cutting another piece. And then let's take both of these. We're going to cut about that much off. Yeah, I like the look of that. Which that makes those about 3 centimeters. Which I am okay with. Now for the weird shaped piece. It's going to need to be about 3 centimeters at the top. So that means basically like that. And the thing is, it's not exactly a triangle, it's sort of a, I don't know what that shape is. Can't remember. Oh, it's been too long since I've done geometry and I don't remember the name of that shape. Somebody in the comments, what is this shape called? It's a decadohedron? No, I know it's not. It's not got 10 sides. So it's got 4 sides, but it's not of equal. Been too long, guys. Been too long. Okay. Actually, I just realized that's probably going to be too big, because once I bring the belt around, let me trim here more from the bottom and from the top. Oh, and then let me make it even. Well, good grief. There we go. There, now the butt flap's good. Okay, so I'm going to take, and one thing I think helped was having some Mod Podge that dried into the fabric itself here. That actually did seem to help, because it causes this fabric section to have some substance, because this stretchy stuff, it definitely did not hold well enough. So I'm going to do the same process as I did on the front. I'm going to do it a little more slapdash, because I'm not overly concerned about it. And you know, I think I will keep these as 2 centimeter pieces. Kind of like the way that that looks. Okay. So, we'll get rid of the Mod Podge. Don't really need it anymore. Let's take sorry, I am down to the last little bit of this glue. I'm going to take and cut that right in the middle. And same thing there. And then I'll put a few drops of this right there. And there we go. Now let's put a few drops on the butt flap. Why they have a butt flap and not one on the front, I don't know. They don't have a fanny flap. Okay. I know y'all probably can't see the drops of glue because it's all clear. But it's on there. And it's holding. Here in a minute we'll flip it over. And I'll show you the front. Yeah, you see this Mod Podge. It's just creating a tacky layer is really all it did, which is good. It'll help the plastic glue to have something to adhere to. Okay. All right. Let's see, these, yeah, those should be ready to start folding over. So, now with this, I'm going to have to fold that over and hold that in place for a minute. Or I could if I can get to them while I'm sitting here doing this. Of course, watch, this is going to be long enough that the glue is going to hold to and make what I'm doing completely unnecessary. There we go. Oh, crap. That's not good. Gonna have to touch up that paint. Okay. All right. That does all of those. Oop. Let me find my brush. Ooh, I just almost knocked my water cup over. I know y'all can't see that, but that could have made for a real bad problem. So yeah, that is, yeah, those are holding real good. So I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. We're going to take and get a little cup here, and I'm going to put my paint in there. So that I can touch up a couple of spots. I got one right here on this, I saw. Let's see, that should be, yeah, those will be okay. Got some spots right here. And then I messed that up real bad. Oh, I did the same thing on that one. Maybe the clamps weren't a good idea. I'll probably have to go back and touch that all up. Okay. So now I'm going to take this stuff that we talked about at the beginning, and we are going to cover the whole thing in this sparkly material here. The good thing about this stuff, it will dry clear and only leave, if you see it, it's starting to create that silvery sparkle of future clothes, because you know that's in the future everybody's clothes will just sparkle. It's one thing I love, original series, but occasionally they're alien and costume designs were so funny. Like, they were just like, oh, just make it sparkle, make it shiny, and that'll be the future. The future is sparkly and shiny, and you can see it's real good on the belt there. We'll do the same thing all over the back. And don't worry, I've got a whole nother bottle of that. It's one of my favorites to use for just adding the generic sci-fi sparkle effect to anything. And I haven't decided. Like I said, I've ordered the boots. I don't have them yet, but I'm trying to decide if when I get the boots, if I want to put the sparkle effect on that as well. Well, that is essentially it for the costume, other than the boots. I'm going to do another video where I show how I'm going to, how I sculpt the hands, because, let me, where I sculpt the hands on the figure, because Tellarites, they only have 3 fingers, so I'm going to reshape the hands on that figure that I've got, in order to have just the 3 fingers, and probably do a little bit of the fur texture on the wrist area. Maybe not. I haven't decided on that for sure. But that'll be another video that I'll be doing. It'll be coming up real soon. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got some inspiration for how to make the costume for your Tellarite and maybe some ways to get sparkly clothes if you want, you know. So I'm going to let this dry, and in about an hour it'll be ready to take off of my little cardboard dummy, and then I can put it on the figure. So, alright, thank you, and I will see you next time. If you enjoy my videos and want to see more, please like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell icon. If you want to support me, you can find me on Patreon, or go over to Zazzle for prints of my artwork, t-shirts, and other cool stuff. If you're still here, why? Do you want to jam out?